So, good afternoon again. This is going to be the last video on a bijur fitting. This is actually going to show you how to reassemble them and put them back together. If you remember, the bijur fitting all had numbers on them. This is a 00 or a single 0. You got to make sure that you grab the right pin. And what I do first, you might be able to see it. Hopefully you'll catch it. I'm going to drop the pin in here, wiggle it around so I get it in the hole. I don't know if you could see it on the video, but it actually came through and landed in my hand. That way I know that everything's clean and perfectly slides nice and easy to pin up and down. And the first thing you want to do is, if you remember the little disc that we had, take this little disc here. It's a little brass disc. That's the plunger plate basically, and we glued the gasket on it. We're going to take that and just set that right in here. And we need to make sure that the gasket side is face down inside. So what that does is, when you put this little spring in there, you can see the little spring here. When you put that little spring in there, that keeps the gasket side up against the hole. So when the pin is in there, and what I do is I take this to make sure that gasket is not too big. I have a piano wire which is much smaller than the hole, and I just test it, pushing it up and down, make sure that the disc can float up and down. And so once I have that in there and I know it's moving smoothly, I will take the little cap. If you remember the little cap that we had, I use a drill bit number 21, which is about 151 thousandths. I put the little cap, if you remember that little cap with the hole in it, that goes on a drill bit, and I'll literally just take a little screwdriver, touch it, barely touch the edges with it, and put some Loctite on there. I mean, there's almost none on there, just a very little bit. I don't know if you can see the red on there. And then I will just press that right in the hole here, keep the spring in there, and try and get it tight in there a little bit. Once it's in there a little snug, then I'll hold it, take it over to my vise here. So I got a solid piece of steel, and I'll just gently try and tap it in. There you go. You don't want it far at all, just right inside, and that's it. Just barely tap it and you can see it's right in there. Basically the lip is pretty much flush with the top here. And then what you're going to do is take the pin from the other end. I use a small pair of tweezers to put the pin down in that hole. So I look down in here and try and find a little hole there. Yep, goes right in. And then I'll take a drill bit, which is smaller, and just make sure it's all the way down in the hole. And I'll take my little piano wire, it's only about 32 thousandths big, and I'll find that little pin and push the pin up and down, so I know that the pin's working fine in there. Which it is. Goes up and down. It's only about a 1/32 depth in there. And then after that, I'll take the drill bit, and if you remember the little screens we had, little mesh screen, I'll take that little mesh screen on the drill bit and put it right straight down in there. And you can see through the hole here. I push it down past that just a little bit. And then these little felt pads, which is your filter, you put that in there. Try and keep that nice rounded there. Just snugly put that down. And I'll just barely let the weight of the drill bit just hold it there. And then the little ring, the retaining ring, if you remember that little teeny retaining ring, you'll put that right on top of here. And I'll kind of get it snug on there. And then just gently with I use a punch that's about 181 thousandths, so it's smaller than the hole, but it fits right over that ring well. And I'll just gently tap that in. Make sure I get it in straight. Got to get it perfectly straight and centered. And once you got that in, you can just tap it down. And it'll go all the way down and seat itself. And you can hear the tapping when it's solid. And then that's seated all the way inside of there. And you can basically see it almost flush with this hole here. But you probably can't, but it is. It's basically flush with that hole. And basically that's it. That's your bijur fitting. Everything's in it. And you're done. They're ready to go in the car. And all I do is I put the little cap on here. Just so I know when it's sitting on the table. That's one that's fully rebuilt. I hope you enjoyed. And we'll show you when we start putting it back on the car. Have a good day.